may be feeling a little silly in trying to make some of these changes to your life, and maybe even a little overwhelmed in trying to understand what you can do to feel more like yourself, more fulfilled, more energized, just more of like you're living a life that you truly enjoy. And today I'm going to give you a really small shift change that you can do starting literally as you're listening to this podcast in the way that you talk about yourself, either to you or to others, that can make immense, huge transformational change in your life in the way that you feel. If you are new here or are returning, I want to welcome you to Unleashing Happiness. I am your host, Cecilia Hendricks, and I am super excited that you're here, and I'm super excited that I get to do this. I truly feel so blessed that, one, I have the tools to be able to do this, right? I'm very fortunate. My husband has a really great setup down in our basement for me to record these episodes, and I'm just really thankful for it. I think sometimes we can lose sight of some of the quote unquote smaller things to be thankful for, and this setup and having his help for me to get this going is something I'm really, really thankful for, because I really enjoy doing this podcast. I love sharing this information. And I'm also thankful that I have the information to share. I realized that a couple years ago, I felt like I was getting it in some areas, but not in others. And I realized that I was judging a lot of other people on their journey. And when I pulled that judgment away and said, what is this reflecting back to me? What am I learning here? I realized that I had habits and routines that were just not aligned to the type of person that I really wanted to be. And some of those were my online activity, the things that I was associating with, the people that I was talking with and surrounding myself with. And I really took a look at my life and dismantled so many parts of it and so many areas that were not aligned to the type of person that I wanted to be. And at the end of it, I realized, wow, when I focused on my habits and my routines and really connecting everything woo-woo and spiritual with me being my ideal self and personally developing myself, constantly working on my own personal growth, I had this eureka moment in my life and everything started to come together, and it's still coming together. I'm super excited about all of it. And I want you to be able to do the exact same thing. If you're feeling stuck or you feel like you're on this cycle that's like, I know I want more, and you know that there's more that's out there for you, that you love maybe many areas of your life, but in others, you know that you just want more. You want more fulfillment. You want more energy. You want more joy. You want more happiness. Maybe you want more financial security or more love in your life, stronger relationships, but yet you just keep finding yourself stuck where you are unable to figure out how to focus on these end desired outcomes that you want. You're unable to keep up with the habits that you're trying to make. You get into something with tons of motivation and then you just lose it and you're like back to square one and you're demotivated and you're upset and you're feeling de-energized and you just don't know what to do with yourself. One, you are definitely in the right place. My podcast is designed to help you overcome all of these limiting beliefs, all of these stuck points in your own life so that you can expand to be somebody that you really, really enjoy and to live this life that you just absolutely love, because it is available to you and it is beautiful. I promise you, when you get over here, it is beautiful and I cannot wait to welcome you with open arms. And so first, today, we're going to talk about some ways that you can talk about yourself to yourself and to others that will kind of start to shift your mindset in the way that you're looking at your feelings and your emotions and how you feel on a day-to-day basis. And then two, if you want to expand and you really want to have some more personalized help and a truly transformational process, check out my course that's listed down below. It's called Focused and Thriving, and it is designed to take you from feeling overwhelmed and feeling stuck and feeling frustrated to truly thriving in your own life. It is completely transformational. You will walk away understanding how to control your moods, how to remain focused on the things that you want, how to talk about yourself, how to treat yourself, and how to set intentions that truly align with this person that you want to be so that you can make some of the most transformational, remarkable, and sustainable, key point there, right? Sustainable change in your life. And today we're going to start with something that is relatively simple. And when I tell you about it, you may be like, this is too simple. You're crazy. And what we're going to talk about is your thoughts and the responses that you have to people when they talk to you. So, some of the key things to focus on for today is remembering that your thoughts are just a thought. They don't have to be a fact that you absolutely have to live or die to, right? You get to make a choice in what you do with any thought that you have. And if you are not someone who is focused on learning how to regulate your own emotions, really start to question the thoughts and beliefs that you have, that may seem like hogwash, right? That you could actually stop and take a moment and consider what you want to believe and what you don't want to believe. And a lot of times when you first get started, it may feel very awkward and uncomfortable to really question your thoughts and to question what you want to accept. But I want to remind you of a key point, that there is no meaning to anything, including your thoughts, until you assign the meaning. You get to choose what meaning is going to be with that thought and how long you're going to dwell there. You get to choose if it is a thought that is just no longer serving you and not the way that you want to speak about yourself or to yourself, and move on to something else. And the more that you become aware of these thoughts that are bubbling up, the more that you're actually able to change them. And this is a huge key. You cannot make change without first becoming aware. So spending a full 24 hours just paying attention to the way that you talk about yourself and to yourself is such a helpful exercise to get started on this process. One of the things that I noticed, and I've noticed it in myself in the past, and then also I've seen it in some other friends and family, that when you ask somebody, hey, how do you feel? Like, how are you doing today? And they respond with, I'm tired. Every day, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm worn out. I'm exhausted. Well, they are embodying this feeling then. Every day they're going to return to this because every day they're telling themselves, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed. Now, before we continue, remember, this is not about shaming yourself. It's about becoming aware. If somebody asks you, how are you feeling? How are you doing today? And you've noticed that your response is always, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I'm anxious. You becoming aware of this now is fantastic. That's the only way you're going to change it. And tell yourself and remind yourself right now in this moment, those responses are nothing more than a habit. So a habit loop is a cue. You have a trigger to do something. You fall into the routine of whatever the thing is that you do, and you get some sort of reward from it. And sometimes those rewards may not be ones that we consciously recognize, but there's a comfort and maybe a dopamine hit from either misery loves company or just falling into something that we feel comfortable with, or some sort of chemical release of like dopamine, right? So you can get these responses and these rewards that you're not even familiar with, or that you don't recognize, I guess is the best way to put it. But so when you're looking at this type of habit, you have a cue. The cue is that somebody asks, how are you doing today? Your routine is to fall into talking about how tired you are, or how overwhelmed you are, or how anxious you are. And then you're getting some sort of reward. And maybe that reward is a connection with that person, right? Maybe there's somebody who says, oh, girl, I feel you. Yes, I am exhausted every single day. My life is just overwhelming. I feel anxious all the time. I'm a really anxious person. And then you both can talk about the anxiety struggles that you have. And I'm not here to say that nobody ever feels anxiety, right? Like, we have anxiety, but we have anxiety. We are not anxiety, right? Like, you can feel anxious, and the more that you start to pay attention and say, oh, what are these feelings within me right now? Okay, like my stomach kind of hurts. Maybe I can feel a little bit of a tightness in my chest. These are anxious feelings. I am having anxious feelings. Then fall into your process of calming those anxious feelings down. You can identify why you feel them, but you are not those feelings. You experience feelings. You do not absolutely own them, and you're able to change them. It's not to say that you'll never feel anxious again or you'll never feel sad again, but you can start to give yourself a new narrative. And that is going to be the first step in you making any type of change in your life, is saying, okay, I'm going to be aware. I know I want something different, so I have to change the narrative about myself. And just try it for the next few days. When somebody asks, how are you doing? I want you to tap into something that's a little bit more about how you're actually doing. So instead of saying, I'm tired, I want you to say, I'm feeling a little tired today, but I had a really nice evening. We had a phenomenal dinner. It can be something very simple like that. Or when you're in the mirror in the morning and maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't want to do this, right? Like, I can't believe I have to go back to work, or the kids are already fighting. I want you to pay attention instead to something that you feel good about for that day. Like, oh, my hair looks really nice, or I really appreciate my outfit, or I woke up to a really nice text from a friend telling me good morning. Something along those lines, but it's very small shifts to making the most impactful change. I think so often people think change in life improvement has to come from these huge, sweeping, massive changes. And we get very motivated and we're like, yes, I'm going to change everything about me. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow as a brand new person living a brand new life. And that can be very overwhelming because our brain is designed to keep us in survival mode, not change mode. Change is scary for us, right? Change is like big alarm bells for the brain. Like, no, 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 no. You go back to doing what you were doing before. You're putting us at risk and we're not going to be at risk. So you calm yourself down, you sit right down, and you remember that you are tired, right? We're not doing this. You're tired. So the key to getting over this and getting past this like comfort zone mental battlefield with yourself is to take a moment and say, okay, instead, I'm going to do something small. I'm going to start by first being aware. I'm going to start by first changing my response to somebody asking how I am or how I feel. I want to start changing what I'm saying about myself. And here's the thing, even if you do not believe it when you are first starting, I want you to start saying, I feel really good today. I'm having a great day. I took a walk this morning, right? I'm having a really great day. I just feel good. Like I am taking care of myself and I feel good. Or I can feel the change in the air and it's invigorating and I'm really energized. But start small. Pick something. You can either pick that it's going to be the way that you respond to others. It can be the way that you're going to talk to yourself in the morning mirror, right? Creating a morning mantra for yourself, doing some positive affirmations, getting up and doing something for you. But the key to sustainable change is by starting small. So I would love to hear from you how you are going to put this exercise into practice in your life and how it starts to work out for you. If you're listening on YouTube, you can pop those comments down below. I would love to hear from you. And if you are listening on a podcast platform, or if you would like to keep your responses anonymous, you can send me an email at unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com. And at the end of the podcast episodes, I'd like to start spending some time answering some questions that I've received. So there's a kind of a theme actually in the past couple weeks of some questions that I've received to my email, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to respond to those now. So the question is on how to actually remain focused on an outcome and not to get swayed when things don't go your way. So really the theme of it was saying, hey, I've got this thing that I want, right? Like whether it's one person had a dream job that they're looking for, and then another person was looking for a specific person. And there was a couple others that did not tell me exactly what their outcome was, but they had said, like, I'm trying to get this thing, and when something doesn't go my way, I get completely knocked off course. And my recommendation is to change the way that you're looking at this desired outcome. Because when you are looking at an outcome, and instead of looking at progress, then what happens is if there's some little small change or shift in the way things are going, you've decided now it's not going well. It's not going the way that you think it should. And so you get really thrown off course with that, right? So it's like, here's this outcome that I have. Here's this tiny little blip that didn't go well. So that, of course, means that my outcome now cannot happen. But when you're focused on a process goal and you're saying, okay, here's the outcome that I want. I know this is what I want to do. And each day I'm going to set my intentions and my routines to becoming this type of person. So I've got a personal development goal, regardless of what it is, that's the outcome. And I'm going to start working towards that. And each day I'm going to do something that aligns with being the version of myself that has this thing. And every day I'm just going to return to, how would I behave? What does it feel like to be working towards this goal? Because then when you hit a blip, it's just kind of a bump in the road. You're actually more able to handle that blip as just like hit a little bump. I got to keep focusing, got to continue my process. Because when you have the process, you also understand that you're learning along the way. and you can continue to focus on that process. Because that little blip, even though it may look like it's throwing your outcome off course, it likely isn't, right? It's just either a little blip or maybe even something that you don't realize needs to happen along the way for you to have the learning experience or to get where you need to be. So by not focusing only on this end result and putting like kind of all your eggs in that basket and instead working on your process, that shifts back from an external thing, outcome needing to happen, to an internal belief system that is you becoming the person that you want to be. So I hope that that clears it up. I also hope that you have an absolutely beautiful week. And as always, I would love to hear from you. So if you need anything or have any questions, you can definitely reach out. Unleashinghappiness@CeciliaHendricks.com. Have a great week.